Let's take a look at Amazon AWS Elastic Beanstalk. This is for the module in Mount SAC, and we're going to open the activity AWS Elastic Beanstalk from the Academy. That's in the compute module. It is activity AWS Elastic Beanstalk, which I already have open, and I already took a few minutes before recording to start the video by Start Lab. It takes a while to get going, and then I clicked on that to open up the console over here on the right. So in this, we're going to explore an AWS Elastic Beanstalk environment together. It won't take more than 30 minutes. And there's some restrictions, so you can go in and play with the lab, but it's not going to let you do as many things as you might be able to do in other labs. So we've already got this started. We clicked on that. Excellent. Again, the credit for your work is based on the screenshots that you submit at Mount SAC. So it's nice that you submit and we can all see that submission later, the tutors and I, but it's most important you get your good screenshots. I suggest you take one screenshot per task, and then I don't have to send anything back to you. So let's go access the Elastic Beanstalk environment. Now, was there a definition? Did it tell us what Elastic Beanstalk is up here? Make sure you know that before you just start diving in. It's fun to click on buttons, but it helps you if you know what it is you're doing. So let's come over here to task 1 and access the environment. It says to search for Elastic Beanstalk. There we go. So we're going to run and manage web apps. I both love and don't love Elastic Beanstalk. It gives us lots of resources all at once to make things work, and then when things go wrong, it's a little complicated to troubleshoot, but it's nice when everything works. So we have a page called Environments. I have that one right here, Environments. And then, let's see, a table that lists the details for an existing Elastic Beanstalk application. So the health looks okay. This is the sample application, and the platform is Tomcat. This is very common in the enterprise, so it looks like we'll be deploying a Java application. And if you get a job working in the IT department, there's a high likelihood you'll be managing Java-based applications on Tomcat servers for that enterprise. All right, so let's make sure we click on all the buttons correctly. So we found that. We found our environments, and under the environment name, choose the name of the environment. So I guess we're going to click on that button right there. Okay. So it said choose the name of the environment, and I clicked on that blue link under environments right here. And that brought up this environment overview page. So let's see what the instructions have for us. So notice the page that notice that the page shows the health of the application is okay. That's good. So let's test access to the environment. Near the top of the page, choose the domain link. Let's see. So we have environment ID, application name, and domain. And below that domain is a link. So let's go ahead and click on that, and we'll see what happens. The first thing I see is my browser is configured to look for HTTPS, that's secure web pages by default. And if it's not secure, I have to tell it, go ahead, it's fine. And in this case, we're getting the 404 error. There's nothing here. We didn't find what you're looking for. Okay. It says this behavior is expected. Sounds good. So it looks like we're going to have to deploy the application into the Beanstalk environment. So I've got this here. It shows me the environment. This is a great place to take my screenshot to submit. And in my screenshot, you'll notice there's everything I need. Task 1's complete. Task 2, let's download the sample application. Choose that link. And then back in the Elastic Beanstalk dashboard, over there, let's choose Upload and Deploy. The console changes on a regular basis. So sometimes the buttons look different or they move around. In this case, it still says upload and deploy. Now, this says upload and deploy with a capital D, and this says upload and deploy with a lowercase d. Who knows why? So we're going to choose the file that I downloaded. So choose file. I've got it in my downloads folder, this tomcat.zip. All right. And then it just says choose deploy. So I don't need to click any preferences right now. I'm just going to deploy it. Now it says it will take a minute or two for Elastic Beanstalk to update the environment. After the deployment is complete, we'll choose the domain URL and refresh, and then we should see a web app. So we can watch over here what's happening. So the platform is supported. There's a bunch of information. We can probably watch this as we go. You can refresh, updating environment, deploying new version to instance, still deploying new version. It looks like it's updating for us automatically. We can come over here and start refreshing. And there it is. Congratulations. Your first AWS Elastic Beanstalk application is now running. It looks like I've got some nice links over here. So let's go take a look. How convenient that the sample application has links for us to go and check out documentation, including, oh, look at Elastic Beanstalk. Let's get back over here. That looks good. So let's choose configuration on the left pane. So we'll come over here. We'll click on configuration. And this says we're going to notice the details. Oh, we're just noticing. Instance traffic and scaling panel. So let's go through. There's our instance traffic and scaling panels. What does it want us to notice? It indicates the EC2 security groups. There's our EC2 security groups right there. In the networking database and tags panel, so let's find that networking database and tags panel. Was that up? There's our networking and database, but that doesn't have tags. So this, sometimes the instructions and the production are a little bit different. So this says no configuration details, no options configured right here. In the networking database and tags row, choose edit. So we only have networking and database now. So notice that even though the lab is current and updated, it's already out of date from the console. So let's go ahead and click edit. And following the instructions, we could easily enable a database. You only need a few basic configurations and choose apply. So what does it want us to do? You do not need to add a database. So we could easily add a database. That's what it's saying. We could easily go in here, add the database like this, create the snapshot, and apply. But we're not going to. We can just cancel out of there. In the left pane under environment, choose monitoring. So here's our environment and here's monitoring right here. Browse through the charts to see the kinds of information that are available. Okay, seems pretty straightforward. Looks like under monitoring, I've got health, CPU utilization, network, in and out. These are good to monitor. For example, if your CPU utilization, let's make this more bigger. If this was at 100%, maybe you would need to add more machines if the CPU is hitting the max all the time. Or if you're running out of bandwidth, maybe you need to spread that out or add some kind of a load balancer. You can make decisions with the data once you have the data. All right, so it looks like that's the end of task 2. So let me grab my screenshot here. I'll grab the whole browser. It's important to grab the whole browser because you want to make sure that you submit with all of this inside as well. So I'll hide that, and let's go on to task 3. Explore the resources. All right, so let's go to services. I'll go to the search. I'll type in services. Oh, there's a lot of services here. Search for and choose EC2. I think I'm just going to do EC2. Maybe I misread that. Did you read that as search for services? No, we had to click on services and search for EC2. This looks like a markdown error to me. 2 asterisks would make this bold. 1 asterisk would make it italicized. 3 asterisks would make it bold and italic. And this looks like there was 4 asterisks, which made me search for services. So I'm just going to search for EC2 and choose that. Now let's look at instances, and we'll see what we have here. So our sample application has 2 instances. They're both t3.micros. They both look like they're in good shape. Let's see what they ask us to do. If you want to continue exploring Amazon ET service resources, let's see, you'll find a security group with port 80 open. So let's take a look. We'll go down to networking and security. We'll look at security groups. Looks like we have some security groups here. There's an inbound HTTP port 80. All right. A load balancer that both instances belong to. So let's go back to security groups. Which one is the load balancer? Let's scroll through. It's probably not the Bastion. That's for SSH access, I guess. Well, one of these is going to be the load balancer. An auto scaling group. Let's go take a look. Oh, here's our load balancer down here. This makes sense. There's the load balancer. Right here, and both instances are in service. Okay, that makes sense. There's the VPC for it. Then we have our auto scaling group. So let's go down to auto scaling group. There's our auto scaling group. Let's see what that gives us. Let's see, we have 2 to 6, so at least 2 machines, maximum of 6. So what will happen is when you set up an auto scaling group, you'll say, if the resources start to get maxed out, we don't want to lose service to our customers, start adding more machines. So always keep 2 machines up for the load balance, but perhaps turn on as many as 6. And then you can have it set up so that if 6 machines are going and they get maxed out, maybe it will notify you. So rather than spending a bunch of money on machines, maybe you can go take a look and see what's happening in case there's something bad happening. Let's see, auto scaling, and then though Elastic Beanstalk created, you still have access to them. That's true. So we still have access to our machine over here. We can go into auto scaling a little bit. We can dig around. That's one of the nice things to do, is just go take a look and see the details. We'll say, oh, we got T3 micros, and we've got availability zones of US East, A, B, and C. You can go look at the, let's see, load balancing and VBC options are on the other tab we looked at, okay? And just scroll through, take a look, and then this part we're not worried about. The point of this was to go and see what you did here. So when you have your auto scaling groups open, let's grab our screenshot to submit. There we go, that looks good, and we're done.